Hey, love bugs, it's Roslynn back at you one more again. Everybody is doing blessed. I'm doing blessed and highly favored, and definitely hope the same for you. And if this is your popping by my channel, much love to you and welcome. And to my returning subs, my growing extended beautiful family. As always, thank you so much for the love and support y'all are constantly giving me on the daily. Is truly appreciating that I send out beautiful vibes and you turn right around and give them right back. So with that being said, much love to all. Namaste, love and blessings, love and light, and many blessings are definitely coming your way. And if you have been watching my videos for a while and have not already, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell at the bottom so you know when your girl's about to upload her next video. Also, if you're comfortable enough, drop me a line or two. I would love the chance to get to know you as much as you're getting to know me, even if it's about the positive feedback to the content of my video, or you're just up telling me about your empathic gift, how it impacts your life and heading you towards a positive direction. And if you feel like the videos are insightful or just give you some good vibes that you would love to share with a loved one, family, or friend, or even a fellow empath that may be going through some trying times at the moment and needing confirmation, validation towards life path, or even so purposes, or just needing spiritual guidance, please go ahead and share. And while you're at it, give it a thumbs up, like, and also share on your social media favorites wherever you see fit. Thank you once again for the love and support. It's always appreciated. And I hope you're able to resonate with the content of my video. I'm still listening to the same meditation I've been using for the last few videos, and it's just really been vibing, in a chill vibe or whatever. So I really like that. The video I'm about to do is Twin Flame 101. Heyokas, seeing the past events of hardship was a reintroduction of who you truly are. We're all, going through our different times of our life, and a lot of, situations are a lot more harder to get over or heal from than, probably something else. But it's just like a lot of times when you're going through that hermit mode of self-reflection and just really seeing how your life is at this point right now to what it was before this situation. A lot of times we feel like we're in a stagnant vibration, like things are just not, it's changing, but it's not changing in the way that we want it. It's just like, shoot, if it was, up to us, we would be like, what's his name, Adam Sandler, with that daggone that clicker. You be trying to fast forward, okay, give me the life lesson, just hand me straight to the manifestations. And it's just like, when we're allowing ourselves to go through those experiences of when you're trying to work hard for your blessings, you tend to create something that you never thought you would be able to master. There are a lot of times where we're going through things. I even said it myself. There are certain things I say, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I can just get through this situation. Why does it seem like, every time I go into the clear, something else comes up, and at times it feels frustrating. It feels very frustrating. And it's just like, when I got to that point, I allowed myself to really, if I say I'm going to look at all the sad things that went on, allow myself to get out of that narrative of the negative, allow myself to see how everything was. I was that type of person. And I've said this, a few times before, where I allowed myself to digest all type of energy that came with me, as long as, I was being accepted, as long as, I was having some kind of, communication with somebody. And it was just like, before I understood what my gifts were, there were so many different things that will come up that scared me. And I just didn't like being alone with my thoughts. And, people were looking at me like, what the heck are you talking about? Are you okay? We need to put you up as a 5150. What are you doing? And it was before I knew I was like clairvoyant, clairessence, alcient, all them daggone clairs. I had all of them, and it was just like going through all those different things. I lacked love for myself, self-respect. I place my love in things that, I didn't feel was back. And then, just trying to feel wanted by my adopted family, and I was willing to allow my happiness and self-respect and self-love go just for that acceptance. And then when I went through all these different things in my life, they really like shook me to the core. And I lost, it just felt like I lost my mind. I went through a very bad mental breakdown because that was just something really I didn't want to accept. And at times, still going through stuff like that, it feels surreal to me. But then when I allow myself to see how far I've come, being able to just allow myself to be very transparent. It's like some people feel like when you're making videos, it's easy for you to do that. And it just depends on what what kind of content you're doing. I can't judge one from the other. I just give mad respect to anybody that posts up different content, because that takes a lot for you to do. And you put your when it comes to your personal life, of you telling people what kind of situations you were being in, just for other people to relate to you, that's a lot of courage for you to have, because you're opening yourself up to the world for you to be judged. You don't know how people are going to take you. You don't know if they're going to believe you. Are they going to see you as yearning attention? Are you just doing this for views? Are you doing this for likes? And all those different things. But it allows you to go down a path that you're creating something that is very different, very foreign. I didn't even like doing public speaking when I was in school, but it was just like, we have intellectual conversations. I was there. I loved that. I love to be able to discuss stuff, but I just didn't like standing in front of classroom. It made me very nervous. But when I see all the different things that has taken place in my life, it just, you at times when you're going through a lot of emotional, you know, I don't even know what you want to create that word to be, because shoot, I can't find one. But if you're going through so much emotional baggage that has really made you, feel helpless at times, because it was just like people that, I was like family to, that I felt that was family to me. I got alienated. I was off by myself, and it's just like had nobody to turn to. Going through spiritual awakenings was very scary, because you don't really have anybody you can talk to. You don't know, if you open up to somebody, they're going to try to commit you and all these different things. And it's just like, I was thinking, since I moved from the Midwest down to the South, where so-called family was supposed to be, I would be okay. After my mom passed, that was, the only reason why I stayed in the Midwest. But after that, it gave me just a whole new outlook on life, because I never was able to grieve at any death that has taken place in my life. And I was always had to suppress that. So going through all these different things, it was like peeling back an onion. And it just was the stinkiest, funkiest onion, just the aroma of it just makes your nose hairs burn. That's how it was to me. But then when I allow myself, it's so easy for you to see everything in a negative. And that's what I always did, because I never been able to express myself on anything that I went through in my life. I always had to, keep that to myself. And then, when my father passed, that's when shit really hit the fan for me. And I could not be supportive of that. And there's times I get in my feelings now, because I can't really express that without judgment being there. So when I go through this, it allows me to see my strengths was buried up under all that neglect, that abandonment towards myself, self-mutilation of not cutting myself, but just seeing myself as just something bad, something that was jaded, tainted, all those different things. I see myself not being able to be loved, because it was like I was always put on the back burner with everybody, with almost everybody. And then being able to see, when I went through this situation, I always felt like I would never, ever want nobody to ever go through a situation like this, where they felt like they didn't have anybody to turn to, have anybody to really understand, the struggles they dealt with, the pain that they just really want to allow themselves to be happy. But it was like that pain became that best friend. We stuck a lot, we stuck tight to our tragedies, our traumas, our mishaps, whatever what was created through those timelines. And then when you're allowing yourself, universe allows us to go through a certain length of different things. And when they felt like there was enough trauma, that switch came on, and just like all hell done broke loose. And it's just like, you really trying to understand what is going on with me. Is there anybody else out there that has those kind of feelings like I do? Is anybody like struggling, trying, because they stick out? It was always, the way I talked, the things that I talked about, especially at a young age. I was at 3 or 4 years old already talking about death, and my mom was looking like, what the hell's wrong with my baby? But because it was just like that much trauma that I carried around. And it's like, especially if you're a toddler and you're an empath on top of that, and you've been here before, you walking around here. Anybody ever seen the movie, what is The Village at the Dam, with them little kids, and they were very special, except I wasn't able to, burn nothing out with my eyes, but it's just like they stuck out like that. And it's like that was that shock switch that there was something so much deeper than really understanding what is under the core of pain, separation, neglect, abandonment, no love, for that individual. Always felt like, you couldn't be loved, or, your heart, your hardship, you had more hardship than you actually had happiness. And if you did have happiness, it was like a touch and go, but then when I allowed myself to really go through these things, I still, go through, my grief of, my acceptance of my grief of the passing of my father, and, all those different things. And it still takes time, but then I allow myself to appreciate, it took me a long time for me to just remember certain parts that it contained with me and him. It was like, I felt like that was a punishment to rub in my face, but that was for universe to remember the beauty of that love, even though it was dipped in deception, lies, and, secrets. That love was always there. That vibe was always there. The support was always there. And then when I'm allowing myself to show that truth, it allowed me to see so many parts of myself I didn't know was there, and at times, I felt like, am I being heard? Because a lot of times we don't feel like we're heard. I go back to my videos when I first started, it's like cringy. And I'm like, oh my God, I was just like this, and that. And I seen how pain has changed me. It either can change you for the better, or it changes to make you bitter, and it took me a long time of when I see the people that, took along this journey of deception. It took me a long time to not associate them with a negative standpoint. And it's just like, when I can see them today, I can say, you are the biggest blessing that ever happened to me, because it allowed me to know, even when I felt like I was by myself, it made me whole. When I allowed myself to know, when I had to deal with people like that, they always worried about what people thought. They wanted people to be jealous over them, over something that they had to manipulate to have, or what people's opinions were about them, or what they're going to think. I had to allow myself to know, if you can't accept me for me, then you don't need to be accepting me at all. I don't care what the next person thinks, and I used to always think that. And then when it came to my dad, I was feeling like, if people love my dad, they'll love me too. And it was just so many different mixed emotions about that took me through, a whirlwind of pain, anguish, and grief, and all those different things, where it makes you feel like you don't know what kind of reflection that is, but it's heavy and it's like saddening. But it came to that point where anything, that was really hurtful, that it came to my dad, was like a sore subject to me. I had to allow myself to know, if I want to keep carrying on and doing the purpose that I have to allow myself to see those negative aspects of where we were being robbed of communication, to be able to be a part of. This is that love and support that you are blessed to have, even where it was, orchestrated or altered to somebody else's satisfaction. You can at least say that, your father always loved you. You always loved your father. But it's just like the vibes could not be expressed at that time. And so going through all these different changes, and being able to see the things that I've been gifted with the powers that be, there's so many different people's hearts and minds, and past, that I was able to bless. That was a blessing to me. It was a blessing to them. A lot of people thought, if I did something, I was automatically looking for something in return. And just to be able to tell them, I said, what, the best blessing you can give me is to know I made some kind of sense of clarity, or some kind of peace, to know you're not dealing with these different things alone. Yes, it's hard for us to get through trauma. Yes, it's hard for us to not be angry when somebody has like violated you in some kind of way. But the best revenge is you can have is love yourself. All that energy you placed in hating what has taken place, allow that to, triple up with the love that you have, to allow myself to say, I'm not going to stop my life on living in the happiness I deserve based on other people's agenda of trying to hurt me. When you go through initial pain, it's like when I seen how it went around in the generation of the family that I had, it was, that was carried over, and a person could feel victimized to the point they were the perpetrator to what was victimized, instead of them allowing themselves to say, hey, I know what this felt like. I didn't like it. I'll pass that on. I did that with my kids, and I thought that, this was normal for me. This is how family is, and then just being able to allow myself to know the toxic traits of my life, because I didn't really see it as toxic traits. I seen it as me being punished for something that somebody was jealous off of me for, that they didn't allow me to interact with because it was for their needs. Now I can say, even though that was the worst part of it, I got so many blessings from a bigger tragedy. And a lot of times it's just like a lot of times when we feel like these things are directed at us, even by, they're directing it at you, it's a punishment that they're living out from you, because they see that preciousness, they see that love, and that vibration of innocence. And when they feel like they were robbed of that, it's going to pass right back on. So it's like, for us to go through that, a lot of times your hardship introduce you to your strength. Those struggles introduce you to your strength. Not every day is a good day, but not every day is a bad day. Even through your bad days, you have to try to see the good in that day. And I have to allow myself to keep going through that, because there's sometimes when I see all the things that I've gone through, and I'm just like, whose family did I wipe out for me to go through all this hardship that I went through? But then when I allowed myself to know, even though this is not directed at you, you had to go through this not because of you, but who are you going to come in contact with? You have a bigger, everything that is done to you is so much bigger than you when it comes to your purpose. It's not saying that your life doesn't matter, whatever you went through didn't matter, but this is where it reintroduces you to what your purpose here is on earth, to make it change. There's so many people out here gunning people down like people's lives don't matter, and a certain generation, a certain nationality is more important than another one. There's so much ugliness out in the world, where they'll, oh, I feel like my life is in stake. And it's just so much stuff. That's why I can't allow myself to really watch the news or social media, because I see how, just for you to be a person of color, you already walking around with a bullseye on you. You don't even know if you're going to come back home in the same way you left, and it shouldn't be like that in the world. There's so much things that we're facing. There's some people that are trying to embrace it the best way they know how, or there's people who are trying to run from it and place a blame on something else instead of taking responsibility for their own actions. So when all these different things are coming around, and at times we really feel like we can't make it through this. And it's just like, you have to understand there's so many different things that could have happened that didn't happen in your life. And you have to pray for those and give thanks, because there could have been certain things that universes, manipulated, where you could have really gotten some issues, but the way you could have been late for work that one day, you couldn't find your keys. But if you were left on time that day, it was probably a pileup where you were going to your job, and you could have been in that traffic. There was one time where I helped a drunk driver, ram into my car that killed me for like 10 minutes and brought me back. And if he would have went over the overpass where I was staying out on the outer road, because it's like down there, it's like down a cliff, there's, the major highway. If my car wasn't there, he wouldn't have just killed himself. He would have killed so many people, because this is like the day before 4th of July. And I didn't realize that my car was sitting here, and the guy went 120 miles an hour into the car. And I prayed dying. I died praying. Then I came back. And you just don't, when I look at stuff like this in my life that has taken place, had a gunpoint, a cop had a revolver or whatever to my head. And it just so happened, he was beating me up really bad. And the police that knew my mom was good friends with her at a job, and they were really close. He just so happened to stop him. If it would have been somebody else, I wouldn't even be here today. Even though I did time for something I didn't even commit, a crime I didn't commit. All I was is at the wrong place at the wrong time, and he already had an agenda against me anyway, because the driver he was good friends with. So he was trying to make my life a living hell. And it's just like so many different things that's in my life that could have really got me, but it didn't. And I'm just thinking, oh gosh, I try to take my life. I said, God don't want me, and the daggone devil put a restraining order on me. I'm like, damn, I'm just damned if I do, damned if I don't. But then when I allowed myself to know there must be a very big purpose for me to still be here, either God just having a really, really, dark humor that wants to torture me for the rest of my life, or there's something so much bigger that I didn't even see coming, you know. And so when I allow myself to look at everything in my life that is happening thus far, I mean, I did, I've did so many changes in my life for the good, you know. I mean, I still deal with certain issues, but it's nowhere near, what is taking place in my life. I used to be, an opiate addict, you know. When after I went through that car accident and crushed my whole left side from that drunk driver hit me, I got addicted to, some very, heavy medications and died a few times and came back. My kids had to bring me back one time, and I felt myself dying. And it's just so many different things that's happened in our lives. And a lot of times when we have so many different things that's going on in our lives, we tend to stay focused on the things that really broke us. But those are the main things that's going to make you. That's where your strength comes from, because if you have overturned so many different trials and tribulations taking place in your life, and you're still in your right mind, and you're still trying to push out compassion in the world when it's hard for you to even show it to yourself. You just don't know what big part that you're serving in something that is way bigger than you can ever realize, that is created within you. So it's just like when you're going through these things, trust me, I don't know your situation, but I definitely know mine. I know I've went through so many different things. I've gone through different things that I choose not to even talk about anymore, because I feel like if I talk about that, that's allowing myself to recreate that issue. So I have to allow myself to see those circumstances was a chance for me to become stronger, transform my life on the way I want it, not in the control of how somebody else wanted it, you know. And being able to see my hardship was the biggest blessings, because it reintroduced me to my strength. You have to really be able to allow yourself to see everything that you're going through. There's always a very brighter purpose for everything that you're going through. And a lot of times it may not be clear at that time, but trust and believe. When you get to where you're trying to be and you surpass the goals that you wanted, you're going to get so much more, because you did not give up. When you allowed yourself to even keep pushing when you didn't even have that strength to just, you wanted to fold. God and universe, all that's in God's creation is about to give you blessings that you won't be able to comprehend, because you allowed yourself to keep pushing. Even when you didn't understand it, you already know there. It's like your soul wouldn't allow you to quit. Yes, it's hard. It's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, you wouldn't learn nothing. You wouldn't cherish the things that come into your life that is a good blessing, because those hard blessings introduce you to something that you can turn into a blessing. A lot of times your enemies want you to be able to see everything in a suffering view. This is time for you to recreate on seeing those as blessings described in the skies. So I hope you were able to resonate with the content of this video, y'all. I love y'all so much. I'm glad I can be able to be a part of your journey in this transition of the world changing within itself. And as you are mine, I really feel like it's a blessing, because you have gone so far, and you're going even further. Just allow yourself to, even when it's hard, to stay patient, because when you rush things, and you mess your own stuff up. You're trying to do that. So I'm gonna give a shout out on the next video, because this is already gonna take too long. So I already know it's gonna be a while before it gets, pushed out in notifications. So I will see y'all in my next video. Much love to you, and I hope you have a blessed, safe weekend, and be responsible for everything you do. Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop a line, and yeah, even through social distancing, make sure you give love and light out to everybody that needs it. You never know, it could really take them a long way. And whatever you're trying to manifest, I hope it becomes so much bigger and better than you ever guessed, and it comes quicker than you ever thought. And I'll see you on my next video. Much love. Bye.